kind of practice and custom, both at Duke and around the United States. Civic engagement is meant to be apolitical. Okay, so we've got a major, in order to accomplish the things that Eric is talking about, we not only have a major kind of cultural organizing battle that has to take place, there's a very significant leadership battle and legislative legal battle that has to take place. So let me just say a few things about where this comes from. So in the 1960s, with VISTA, the Peace Corps, a whole bunch of war and poverty programs, student protests, student activism of all sorts, in Appalachia, in Durham, North Carolina, and Newark, New Jersey, all over the country, both government money and, more importantly, foundation money was being used to support college students or post-college students who were engaged in a whole variety of types of community organizing, political mobilization, from registering people to vote, getting people to vote, leading protests at the county courthouse, you name it, all across the board. And everybody from power brokers in big cities, mayors particularly, to conservatives in Congress, to small town mayors, were horrified by this use of young people as a way of mobilizing and stimulating and challenging the political system really from the top to the bottom. And they were particularly horrified when they found out that government money and foundation money was being used in some cases to sponsor that mobilization and really contest the power of local elites. I could give a whole bunch of examples of this, but just maybe we can come back to it. So they fought back to limit the ability of young people to really be participants in social change activities. And let me just describe a couple ways that they did that. The first was the Green Amendment, which was passed in 1968 as a part of the kind of reauthorization bill for the war on poverty. I'm just reading from a new book of mine which describes all this, which you should read if you want to understand this. So the Green Amendment stripped maximum feasible participation from OEO guidelines. That was one big important part. Required that community action programs operate as public rather than private nonprofit organizations. And this is quoting from the amendment. It barred the use of funds or personnel in voter registration drives and prohibited community action personnel from assisting or participating in any protest, demonstration, picketing, or any similar group activity. So that put a significant damper on the use of public funds for any of the kinds of things really that Eric is suggesting that we do, but that wasn't enough. So in 1969, because what it did was leave out where most of the organizing money, well, a lot of it was actually coming from, and that was from the philanthropic sector. So in 1969, as Congress was debating the Tax Reform Act, which was a major piece of legislation that Nixon pushed through and did all kinds of different things. But one of the specific things that it targeted was trying to reform foundations. Now, foundations were doing a lot of really crude kind of stuff in terms of, paying off people who were, paying for travel for some politician or where you get under their skin, was particularly the Ford Foundation and the use of Ford Foundation money to support what they saw as political activities engagement around the country. Now, two kind of examples that just got repeated over and over and over again. One was Carl Stokes in Cleveland. Some Ford Foundation money got into an organization that basically registered all these black voters and allowed Stokes to be elected, I think, in 1968. The other organization, or the site of a lot of activity, was North Carolina, the North Carolina Fund, which this book is about, which had gotten $7 million from Ford. and was getting more than that now. And one of the last things they were doing was Howard Fuller, who was this fabulous community organizer in Durham, an African American from Wisconsin.